Heidi ho, YouTubers. So last Thanksgiving when turkey was on sale, we bought a couple of extra turkey breasts, and I can't remember what we paid for them.
They were cheap.
But they were cheap, and we had them in the freezer. I've been trying to make some room in the freezer, so yesterday or the day before we put them in our roaster and added a bunch of bay leaves and garlic and sage and salt and pepper and other spices. You could do whatever you think tastes good to you, and cooked them all day, so they're nice and tender. And I've already chunked one of them up into pieces, and I'm going to can them today. And then I'm going to take the carcasses and everything I get off of them otherwise, you know, the fat and skin and stuff, and put it back in the roaster, and then we'll run that for the rest of the day and into the night, probably clear up until bedtime, and then we'll make bone broth out of it. So let me cut this other breast up, and we'll see how we do. I'll be right back. So I have my two turkey breasts all cut up into chunks, and that one's a little bigger, some smaller stuff here. It doesn't really matter. So the thing is, as long as it'll fit in the jars, right? Now I'm cold packing this turkey. It's cold now, so I've got cold jars. They just came out of my little countertop dishwasher, and we've got water in the canner behind me, and it's got cold water in it. The reason you want everything to be cold, the jars are cold, the food's cold, the water's cold, so that the jars don't have a thermal shock. If you hit them with hot stuff, all of a sudden, I yawned. Your jars could crack, and that's not a good thing at all. Okay, so I've got my canning funnel here, and we're going to pack these. Now, I'm doing pints, you guys, so I would imagine you could probably get by with a 1/2 inch of headspace. Headspace is the amount of jar, see if you can see this, the amount of jar left before the top of the food. And the reason you want to have a certain amount of headspace is so that when the food heats up, it's going to expand. And you don't want what's called siphoning. You don't want the juices or the meat to come out under the lid, because that will make it so that you don't have a good seal on your jar. And you're losing food in the meantime and making a mess out of your canner. So I'm going to pack these pretty tight, not too tight. And I don't have any water. Okay, hold on, you guys. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, here we go. Now I've got some water, and I'm going to fill that right to 1 inch head spaces right here at this line on the jar. And that's true for quart jars or pint jars. And the next thing you have to do, find something here. I've lost my dedicated debubbler. Now I'm going to poke down in here, pretty crazy, and make sure there's no bubbles left down in this meat and go all the way to the bottom. Okay, now see, we came down a little bit, so I've got to add just a little more water. See if that does it. Yeah, that's about right. Okay, now the next step you have to do is make sure you wipe your rims on your jar right here. You don't want any food or anything. Here's a neat little trick for you guys. They sell these on Amazon. It's cheap. I think you get 2 of them for less than 10 bucks for fingernail polish remover. And it has a little pump in there, so you can pump up. Now I've got this one filled with vinegar, white vinegar, and then you can get a little vinegar on your cloth. I've got some paper towel here, and wipe the rims. Now,
Get out.
I'm not keeping dogs jumping up on Mrs. Goat Hollow. They don't recommend that you have to heat your lids anymore. Okay, so we're just going to do that, and then I'm going to make it finger tight with the rim, and not too tight, and that's so that the air that's in here can escape. But once it starts to cool down, that lid's going to suck down and it'll pop, and you'll hear the greatest sound in the world. And there we have it. Okay, I'm not going to do all of these and bore you, because I've got probably, I don't know, 14 to go. Our canner is an All-American 930, and it will hold 14 pints, so we'll see how that goes. So we've got 1-inch headspace. I'm going to put them in the canner. Let me grab the lid so I can show you a couple things.
Stop it.
Okay, so here's the lid to our canner. When you put the lid on the canner and seal it, it has little toggles that flip up and tighten down. You want to do them across from each other. Try to keep the lid as square as you can, with the same gap around the bottom. You want to check this emergency blow off, so if the pressure gets too high, this will pop up and let out steam. You want to make sure this is clear. I always hold it up to the light and make sure I can see sunlight through it. And make sure your gauge is in good shape. Now you can send these in and get them tested, but this is a fairly new canner, so I don't worry about it. Check something like the Ball Blue Book, canning book, and there'll be a chart in there, and it'll tell you what pressure you need to can at for your altitude. We're at pretty high altitude. We're at almost 360, I think, feet in altitude. So I always use, now there are different holes here on the jiggler, and I always use the 15, which is maybe a little too high a pressure, or more pressure than you need, but it won't hurt anything. Okay, so put the water in your canner, turn it on, steam will start coming out of here. When you get a full steady stream of steam, you need to set the timer on your phone for 10 minutes. And once that 10 minutes is up, then you can put your jiggler on, and once it starts jiggling and you'll see it dancing, then I think this number is for quarts, but I'm going to go ahead and use it for pints. I'm going to go 90 minutes. And once you hit the 90-minute mark of jiggling, which means the pressure is up pretty good to where it needs to be, then you can turn the heat off. And I'm using the stove behind us. I had to put tin foil on it because Mrs. Hollow gets freaked out because it makes a mess of the top of the stove. And we've got one of those evil gas stoves that the politicians are trying to get rid of. But once the 90 minutes is up, turn the heat off and let it sit till the pressure comes all the way back down to 0. And then let it sit for another 10 or 15, probably 15 minutes for sure, until it's completely 0 pressure before you try to take this lid off, because that could be dangerous. And when you lift the lid off, lift it away from you. Not like this, because guess what's going to come out of here? Steamy face stuff, and it might burn you. Alright. I don't think I need to show you guys anymore, except I'll give you a shot when they all come out. Okay, YouTubers, so I got 9 pints of turkey out of our 2 turkey breasts, and it's always a guessing game for me as to how many jars I'm going to get out of a bunch of food. But they turned out well, and everything's sealed. When you take them out of the canner, now let the canner cool down all the way to 0, and then, like I said before, wait probably at least 15 minutes. I think I let them go for an hour because I was having an afternoon snooze. But to put them on a towel or something, and so that they're insulated from the surface below, and they won't cool too quickly, and it's soft, and let them sit for 12, even 24 hours before you mess with them. And they all sealed. I can grab them by the lid and lift them. One did siphon a little bit, but I washed them all and then mark them with what's in them and the date. Hopefully you can see that. I can't see the monitor on the camera from where I'm at. One time we did a whole bunch of turkey and a bunch of chicken in the same week, and I forgot to mark them.
I remember that.
And
we ate turkey.
Yeah, we didn't know what was in, you know, they looked the same, so we marked them chicky. And it was always a surprise whether we got turkey or chicken when we opened them up. But you can open one of these, serve it over noodles, over rice. You could have turkey dinner in August. There are just dozens of different recipes you could use these for. And they're very hella convenient to open up a jar when you're tired and don't want to cook a whole lot. And the reason we go through all of this hassle, like I said at the beginning of the video, our freezers are full, and I'm trying to make as much room in the freezers as I can, but this is now shelf stable for a year. I've pushed it to 18 months. The food was still good in the jars, and I'm still alive, so I guess I'm alright. Anyhow, if you'd like to see more canning videos, and maybe I can do a little better job at narrating them, let me know in the comments, and we'll see you next time, and we'll get through this.